Right, hey everyone, welcome back to some more features of Runechant. Now, I'm going to show off, or showcase the features, right? But I'm not going to go into too much detail on how to access them or what exactly to do, right? So for instance, in all these chests, I've laid out all the different structure kits, which are basically the way of creating multi-block structures in the pack, and then those multi-block structures lead to various crafting recipes that lead to the access or utility of various features. So I'm not going to go through step by step what to do. That is what the advancement system is for, right? This is meant to be your guided way through the pack. I've spent a lot of time in laying it all out. There are a ton of advancements for you to chase and do, and that should help coordinate everything in the pack, right? Still a work in progress. I will obviously tweak and refine them as we go. But starting off today, nice and simple, we're going to go with a rock crusher and a deep slate furnace, which are basically the resource doubling method of the pack, right? Usually most mods or resources or data packs, right, have some form of resource duplication or extra generation so that you can speed up your progress and then go to some other sort of late game things. So we have, the rock crusher that will go there, right? So we drop down the structure kit and it builds us our multi-block structure. We then also have the deep slate furnace, which will go here, right? So there we go, rock crusher, deep slate furnace. So what can you do with these two structures? Well, starting off with the rock crusher, what we can do is we can take natural blocks in the form of rocks. So for instance, diorite, and we'll actually grab some stacks, granite, deep slate, stone, I already got diorite, andesite, I think calcite, that one might be a questionable one, but there we go, we'll start with that, right? And all you have to do is throw the block onto it, and it will crush it, hence rock crusher, right? So from that, we get a whole bunch of goodies modified mostly by the fact that we have a ton of luck. So if we clear our luck, for instance, right, and we start throwing stuff, we're getting significantly less resources, and eventually, as you can see, the amethyst in the middle does break. Now, the way to recharge it is through experience. So you could probably set up a mob farm on top of this block, right? Or if you get yourself balls of experience, or balls of enchanting, which are accessible, you can drop enough experience onto the crying obsidian. Well, it seems like, there we go. I was going to say, not really many are dropping. You will then reform the amethyst cluster, right? You can also break this, you can break the multi-block structure. Be warned though, obviously you'll have to remake the structure kit from entirety and drop it again. For instance, if we break the cluster, right, it breaks the multi-block structure completely. I will just use the glossary to give myself back. So similar to the function glossary, if you do loot, give, right, you can spawn it or you can give it to yourself. You can then access every custom item in the pack. And there is a lot more than I truly realized, right? I was going through the resource pack. There is over 1,000 resource files. So there is at least 500 new items, right? Give or take a little bit. But if we go jigsaw, which is where the majority are, and then we do 3, which is special items, we can find ourselves structure kits, and then I need R, which is before S. We can give ourselves another rock crusher, which goes into the inventory, and we can drop it back down. Right, so again, luck does help modify this. If we go ahead and give ourselves extra luck, effect give, luck, we'll infinite and 99. At 99, which is generally the luck cap of the pack, or 100 points of luck, the amethyst cluster now has no chance to break, right? So we can drop a ton of stuff. We also get, obviously, a ton more resources from it. And depending on what you do drop, we'll also generate different resources. For this one, we'll actually look through the advancements, right? So for instance, if we find the rock crusher, which is down here, we have the 12 natural blocks that you can use. So for instance, from stone, you can get iron nuggets, clay balls, and or lapis. And then there's also a few extra loot tables, which yield all these extra goodies like ender pearls or these clusters, which are used for a whole other feature that we'll go through soon enough, right? So yes, that is the rock crusher, which is your first step of generating or processing more blocks into more resources. Then we have the deep slate furnace, which when used in conjunction can help you process things, for one, really quickly, but also generate a lot more resources. So I'll actually just start by clearing my inventory. This one's nice and simple. You use coal blocks as a fuel, so it does have a higher requirement for fuel rather than just a coal for 8. It's one whole block of coal for one thing, but we can use this to convert raw iron or proper full blocks of raw iron, which are not in this tab, right? There we go, right? Or, of course, normal ore blocks, as well as deep slate ore, and all this will generate different amounts of actual iron. So if we do a block of coal and some raw iron, right, it will instantly smelt it into 3 iron ingots, right? So that's effectively tripling the amount of resources you generate. If we do a block of coal and a block of raw iron, you get 27. right? So still 3. We do a block of coal and some iron ore. We get 5, which is a little bit more, right? So it'd be akin to using like fortune at this point. And then deep slate should be even more than that because it's special. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it generates 8. So your best way of generating the most resources would be silk touch onto deep slate or into this. But I have reconfigured, right? This is not what the furnace used to look like, but the reason I've done that is so that you could, if you wanted, set up dispensers, right? I'll just stick them on top of each other, but we do a dispenser here. Oh, I keep breaking the wrong one. And we can set up one more dispenser on the side here, or, you know, was there? There's 3 per? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can set up 8 different dispensers, different recipes to process. So for instance, put the block of coals in there, and we put a stack of raw iron in there, right? And we grab ourselves a button. What we can do is hopefully shoot them and not pick them up, right? So it shoots out the coal, and then it shoots out the iron, and it gets smelted. So you can automate this process, right? And then you just have, well, technically you can put a minecart on it. This is not actually a block, right? You can put stuff on there. So you could have a minecart running across this throughout the furnace, right? It's the core block that you need to smelt on. So there are ways to set this up so that you can process the materials autonomously, which was the main idea. So for instance, sticking, you know, raw stone blocks into this, and then also using a button, or NSI in this case, because that's what I grabbed, right? It will also crush it for you. You can automate all these processes. You have to get a little bit creative in the resource collection, but I thought that was a cool way of handling it. So yeah, you can create some unique structures, but there we go. That is how to increase your smelting. Now, there are some other recipes as well that I don't necessarily know off the top of my head. I think it's sand and a coal block gets you glass. But that seems... No, it gets you 4. There we go. It gets you 4 glass. So you do get more resources in general by using this deep slate furnace. Might not be more than with fortune, but it's, again, a faster way to process, a way to use in conjunction with this, and overall, right, I think it has its pros and cons compared to normal mining and normal processing of resources. Because again, you can automate, you know, furnaces and everything, but this should have a higher overall yield. Now, I'm curious, did I list stuff? No, I didn't. I just said throw a coal block in any ore or raw ingredient into the center of a deep slate furnace, but I think there is a secret recipe. I'm not sure if I can do it. Either a coal block or a piece of coal and a stack of coal. If we go that and that. Nope, I guess not. There is a diamond recipe in there. There's a few different recipes in there, so you know you have to experiment with what you can throw in it to process it. But there are a few other things we can do with the deep slate furnace as well. So we go back to the advancements. We have full plating trimmed armor, which is kind of weird phrasing, but nonetheless is something useful to do. I need a smithing table, and I need some patterns, right? So it doesn't really matter what pattern we grab, but we do need a resource as well. We'll just go with lapis, since that's the easiest to show off. We'll just go with a chest piece, right? So if we trim ourselves an iron chest piece, we go 1, 2, 3, right? So now it has lapis trim, and this gives it movement speed +++, and a sentinel plating, which is the trim system, which we'll get to again at some point as well. But what we can do with the deep slate furnace, if I just refresh my memory, is drop it in there with a netherite upgrade template, right? So we do upgrade, we grab our stack of these, and we can enhance the trim basically. So we do that, and that's tier 1, and this turns into a half-plated piece of armor, right? So half plating now has a increased look of whatever material you're doing. So for instance, in this case, lapis, and it will also give greater movement speed than normal lapis, but it will lose any other set effect because all the trim patterns do generate the set effects. But if we do it one more time, we access full plating, which will get us a nice completely blue set of lapis armor, basically, right? And this will give you the most movement speed. And you can do that for all the different trim materials. And to touch on that briefly, right, there are more trim materials than in the base game as well. But yeah, that should do it. I don't think there's anything else that really comes to mind. We will use the deep slate furnace for some other utility, right? Some other features of the pack. But yeah, that is the basic gist of the ore duplication or extra resource generation of the pack. So, hope you enjoyed. See ya.